Okay, let's go ahead and start with the release. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. Today is a very important day for us. We are releasing Prowler 4. We are releasing a major version of Prowler with all what that means. A lot of new features, many things to show you, and also we appreciate your time that you are going to share with us during these 40 minutes, 45 minutes, where we are going to do a lot of demos and also explain new features, well, breaking changes as well in detail. So the set list for today is going to be about an introduction, why we are here, what is Prowler, beyond the tool itself, everything about Prowler 4, also the alias. You know, every Prowler version has an alias, and this is very important alias for us. We are going to release Prowler live using GitHub. You know, the Prowler is on GitHub. And of course, we are going to show you how Prowler works with our SaaS by itself. Okay, so let's go ahead. What is Prowler and who makes Prowler? You know, the Prowler is an open source cloud security scanner. It's actually one of the most popular open source cloud security scanners. Also, it's a SaaS platform. We have Prowler open source, the scanner, and a SaaS platform. But also, we are a company, the Prowler company, that we maintain Prowler, and we have the SaaS platform. We do cloud security for AWS, for Azure, for GCP, and for Kubernetes now, and more to come. So we are adding more providers to Prowler in the next version. What else? So you know that Prowler is being well known for the audit, for security assessment, for hardening, because it helps you to do everything related to how to fix or how to improve your security posture, but also helps you with compliance across multiple compliance frameworks. It helps you with incident response. When you have an incident, you can run Prowler and you can get insight about what has happened in terms of severity, etc. You can also use pen testing with some checks of Prowler. They look for passwords or credentials in places that they shouldn't be, or other type of vulnerabilities that allows an attacker to do privilege escalation or many other things. But also in Prowler 4, Prowler allows you to do threat detection, and we will talk about that later. And now, finally, we have in Prowler 4 data visualization. You know that Prowler generates a lot of data, but you have to look for a way to visualize that data. Now you can do that with Prowler, and you will see how. And remediation. You can run Prowler and remediate things, remediate vulnerabilities or remediate configuration. You will see an example of Prowler 4 remediating stuff. So a little bit of our history. Some of you may know that I started Prowler back in 2016. And from that time, we have grown a lot. You can see many other open source security projects like Cloud Custodian, Cloud Mapper, Security Monkeys, Cloud Suite, etc., which are amazing projects with a lot of traction and users. They are amazing, so I invite you to use all of them. In our case, we are growing very fast because we are adding more features. That you can see, we passed 9,000 GitHub stars. We also passed the 7 million of downloads. To give you an idea, pretty much every 10 seconds somebody runs Prowler. That is impressive, and we have very good feedback from our users and our contributors. And who makes Prowler? So I started Prowler, but for sure, for this level of success, this is no longer a one-man army project. We have a bunch of people full-time working for Prowler open source and Prowler SaaS, as you can see here, and most of them are here with me today in Granada. Granada is where I live in the south of Spain. And also we have Drew, we have Jay, John, and we have Sophia also in the US. So thank you very much, all the engineers. These people makes internet safer for everybody, for millions of or thousands of companies, and also many contributors of the community, like as you can see here, Fener or Gabriel Solz. They contribute with feedback, with checks, and with a lot of different ways to help us. So we have also a Slack forum, so you can join the Slack. You will get the link at the end. You can talk to all the engineers anytime, and you can also find information from there also any time of the day. So you get invited. You will see the link at the end. So these people is the people that is making this fantastic project to move forward. Okay, so now we have to announce the alias for version 4. I don't know if any of you has a guess of what can be the alias for version 4. But if not, I'm going to reveal it now. Any idea so far? No? The Trooper! Why the Trooper? Why the Trooper? Well, it's the Trooper because at the very beginning of when I started with Prowler, I was thinking about how to call the Trooper this project. But at the same time, I thought Prowler was a better shorter for the command line, you know, and I chose Prowler. But the Trooper is one of the most popular songs of Iron Maiden. Is going to be like this version. I'm pretty sure this version, Prowler 4, is going to be the most popular version, at least so far, of Prowler, for all what it does and for all what it's going to become. So that is the reason to call it Prowler. I hope you like it. And now we are going to do a live release. What is like doing a live release of an open source project? If you haven't seen this before, we can explain that basically it's hitting a button, nothing else. Thanks to the engineers have everything ready. So let me see what can we do here. So basically we are going to press a button of the release. This is going to trigger some GitHub actions that are going to build the PIP packages for Python package. This is going to build the Docker image, the Amazon ECR image, and also after 3 hours, the Brew package. Automatically as well, GitHub is going to send an email of the release to all the GitHub watchers for the Prowler project or the repo. And we can move it also to Prowler SaaS. So this is some magic that we have between Prowler and Prowler SaaS. So we can send new fixes and new checks and everything very quickly from the scanner to the SaaS. So today I'm going to do the release. Let me show you here. Here we have the release. This is a draft. I'm going to click edit. And Pepe, can I make it? Boom. Now we get it. Go. Yes, we have just released Prowler 4 for everybody. Okay, so here on the, let me share this with you. I'm going to talk about all this right now, but let me copy this. Oh. I'm going to copy the URL here for you here. But I'm going to, to explain everything that is new Prowler right now. What can you find at Prowler for the Trooper? More checks, a lot of new checks, a bunch of checks. more than 300 for AWS, 127 for Azure, 75 for GCP, 83 for Kubernetes, any flavor of Kubernetes, AKS, GKS, your local Kubernetes. And it works for multi-region, multi-subscription, multi-project, and multiple namespaces by default. Of course, you can narrow down the scope of the Prowler execution, but by default, Prowler tries to detect everything or as much as possible. And everything that you run with Prowler 4 is going to cover the latest CIS benchmark as a foundation for your security, level 1 and level 2. What else? Dashboard. So you are going to be able to visualize, to see data from your local scan, and also from the Prowler SaaS data if you want to build your own dashboard without having to run Prowler by yourself. All the new checks, all the and security frameworks are supported in the dashboard, including AWS on the version 3. We have also some checks for threat detection. So Prowler now can detect enumeration attack and privilege escalation attack based on some actions that can detect on CloudTrail for AWS. So you can, I'll run this later, but with Prowler AWS category threat detection. So far we have 2 checks for that, but we will create more checks. Fixer. So Prowler has a list of fixers. So far, we have one very easy fix to show you how it works, which is EC2 EBS default encryption. You know how complex it is to fix stuff at runtime. So we don't recommend to fix stuff at runtime if you are a very mature company. So you should be fixing stuff with your infrastructure as code, right? On the left side of the code. Yeah. So what we want to do, or we are trying to offer with Prowler Fixer, is a very easy way for you to write the code and fix the issue that Prowler finds in the way that you want to do. So you can fix it at runtime, or you can fix it deploying CloudFormation template, or you can fix it deploying Terraform, or whatever you want to do. It's going to be very easy. You will see later the code and everything. What else? For AWS, now we offer cleaner results. By default, it doesn't show services or resources that are not in use. And this is very important because in version 3, we have a flag called scan unused services, or avoid unused services, but now is enabled by default. This means, for example, that if you have a VPC that is empty, it's not, we don't care if you don't have VPC flow logs enabled, for example, right? Or if you have a security group that is not attached anywhere, we don't care if the security group is not properly configured. Of course, if you do care, you can use scan unused services to make sure you get a broader, set of findings. But if you are in a rush and you want to harden your system, you can go with the version 4 straight to get cleaner results. This happens as well with services like Glue or Athena, that out of the box, you find stuff that are not properly configured. So this is going to be a way to reduce the noise somehow. Also, we have changed the allow list to something more comprehensive and easy to understand called the mute list, and is included by default. This is very powerful, and we have it also in our SaaS. This allows you to be focused on what is important, really important for you. For example, if you're familiar with AWS Control Tower has some kind of misconfigured resources in your own account, and you cannot change them. So we have an example, and we run it by default of our new mute list with removing the noise that Control Tower makes in your findings. So with all that said, Prowler 4 is very different also internally. For example, the way that we write services, providers to allow adding more providers is a new another thing. So there are some breaking changes that also allow you as a user to use and take more advantage of what you do in the cloud. So now, remember, this can be a break change because you can see less findings or less fails because the mute list is enabled. So there is no longer call allow list. There are new services. So remember, you are going to see less findings because we don't show you the services that are not in use. I use a couple of examples with VPCs and security groups, but we cover at least 10 services. No info status anymore. So we only show manual for special cases. Some all checks that are not there is not an API or an option, but we don't use that now. And for the output formats, this is the real breaking changes here. Okay, in version 4 we only use CSV, and it's the same CSV for all the providers, which makes easier to generate reports, right? If you have your own automation. And we have changed those CSVs a little bit. So take a look to that, to the headers, okay? And also we are no longer providing our own JSON. We only provide the standard JSON based on OCSF. If you are not familiar with OCSF, it's a new standard adopted by, for example, Splunk or Amazon Security Lake. At the same time, we support JSON ASFF, AWS Security Finding format, which is the format that AWS Security Hub supports. So you don't have to tell Prowler, hey, do this in JSON ASFF. Only if you enable Security Hub, it's going to do that for you, okay? The new headers, and remember, as I said, same for any provider. Also, we have removed the native HTML and JSON reports. Why? Because we have now our own data visualization, right? Which is the local dashboard that uses CSV, our own CSV, no matter the provider again, and it's going to work for AWS from 3.15 and for all the providers from version 4, and also from Prowler SaaS. The last breaking changes to highlight is about CLI. So we have deprecated SDF endpoint region because we have now a better way to manage and handle the session tokens for AWS. We have also deprecated the -q or that -quiet. Remember that was to only show fails. Now we have that's the status fail. So Prowler is going only to show or to say fail findings, or you can do only mute or only pass or whatever. You can filter by status. And if you want to send fail to Security Hub, you can now either use send sh only fail or Security Hub status fail. I think it's more comprehensive. We also added the version of the singular and plural of all the flags of Prowler to allow you to use pretty much any any option of the flag at Prowler, just to make it easier for everybody to use. So now, can I play with madness? Let's see if everything that I have just said works in the real world. Okay, I'm looking here at the engineers. Let's see if this is going to work. Okay. Let me open the console, but I'm going to show how to run new scan for everything here. Also the new config file, mute, and new services, the compliance, the output, all that stuff. Okay. Then we are going to see the dashboard. We are going to see threat detection and the fixers. And please, if you have any questions during the demo, because I guess you may have a lot of questions, write them down here on the chat or in the Q&A, and I will try to see them as I go along with this, okay? Good. So first thing first, what I need to do is to install Prowler. What I'm going to do actually here is to upgrade Prowler because I have Prowler 3. Now I'm going to install Prowler upgrade. Let's see what it does. Remember, Prowler 4 comes with way more packages. So it's a little bit bigger, the package, the PIP package and the container and all that stuff, mostly because we wanted to make life easier to everybody. And instead of chopping the package in multiple packages, we wanted to, okay, this is Prowler, you can do all this stuff, right? With all the providers, the dashboards, etc. At the end of the day, having the multiple packages make life a little bit difficult for the developers and the practitioners, right? Because you have to install many things. And if a package is like 50 megabytes or 100 megabytes bigger, it's not a big thing. Nowadays, probably 10 years ago will be a problem. So now, see, it's everything installing. We have more dependencies because of Kubernetes, because also Azure adds a lot of deep libraries, and the dashboard requires many different libraries as well. The changes for, we have a question here from Andreas. Did you have changes for Prowler before it comes output tested with Defect Dojo? So you have to adapt the Defect Dojo loader with the new OCSF. Remember, if you add OCSF support to Defect Dojo, you are going to get Prowler and many others. So I recommend you to go with OCSF, and then you can send from Prowler 4 with no issues. Okay. Okay. Now we have Prowler installed. See, boom, is the last one. The trooper is here. And now what can I do? I can scan AWS, for example. I already have my credentials, okay? So for example, here, I'm not going to scan all the regions because it may take about 5 minutes. And for the sake of time here during the demo, I'm going to scan only a couple of regions. At the end of the day, in this demo account, I only have 2 regions enabled via organizations with service control policies. So here you can see some differences. See, Prowler is now the handy multi-cloud security tool. We show you here the credentials and details about the credentials, and also we tell the user, hey, we are using this config file by default, we are using the mute list by default, and we are scanning a new services host. So not scanning a new services. While this is scanning the 305 checks, I'm going to show you the config file. No, wait, and before the config file is going to be the mute list for AWS in this case, but we support mute list for Azure, for Kubernetes, and for GCP. Let me show you here. This. So this is the mute list. See, you can add checks, you can add accounts. In our default mute list is to avoid or to mute everything related to control tower. But what if you have resources that you don't care with a particular tag? So you can add those resources with start check, start region, any resource, but only with your particular tag, and Prowler is going to mute them. So you can see them failing or passing, but muted at the same time, okay? So this is very comprehensive because you can filter by accounts, by checks, by regions, resources, etc. Well, in the documentation, you can even get all the options that you have for this and in the repo. Okay, this is going to take for this region probably 2 more minutes. I don't know. Let me show you the config file, the new details of the new config file. I can do cut here, and let me show you here. Let me go up here. So this is to enable the mute non-default regions. So you can set up default regions to make Prowler only scanning what is important for you. the configuration for different checks, showdown API key if you want to add it here, but remember you can add it also as a parameter. We use showdown for AWS, GCP, and Azure if you want to see if some public IPs or service or resources are listed there. And this is also the obsolete Lambda runtimes for the check. A few other configurations also for the checks related to AWS organization, ECR, etc. So it's important to take this into account. I will go through the demo of the threat detection later, but now let me explain you that we use Prowler to query the last 24 hours or whatever time that you want to go and search back for privilege escalation. There is a threshold that we have identified that is important, which is 10%, something that is 10% of the detection of all these actions on CloudTrail, we think may be a privilege escalation or a recon. In this case, this is for privilege escalation, and this one is for enumeration. For example, during the demo, I'm going to show you a real case scenario on how we detect with Prowler that is happening. An important point here for threat detection, since this is querying your CloudTrail, this takes time. So we don't run this check out of the box. You have to run this check ad hoc to detect threats in your infrastructure, okay? Also the Azure configuration, GCP configuration, Kubernetes, all that stuff that you may need or not to change for your use case. Okay. Now this is done for AWS. Like in Prowler 3, we show you the overview, the information about the account. We added a new column for muted because of the default mute. See here, for example, there are 12 muted, and some of them are already failed mute. Also, by default, Prowler 4 runs everything related to compliance inside output/compliance. You have there all the CSV, and also the JSON OCSF and the CSV, as you already know. See, you can see here everything, how's your status of everything right here. And everything is in compliance, as you can see. Okay, now let's go through Azure. Azure is also very, very straightforward. I already have my session at environment variable. I run Prowler Azure with getting the session from the environment variables. And this is going to go through my projects on Azure, well, the subscription. This is going to be like the 127 checks. In this case, those are 100% coverage for CIS, level 1 and level 2, in this case for Azure. Again, we don't run a mute list out of the box for Azure because we don't really know if there is something that we should add. We are open for the community to provide that help. There you go. So we have App Insight, Defender, Entra. We have a bunch of checks for Entra, for network, and for SQL Server, and Azure 2.0, and CIS 2.1. See? Let's go ahead with GCP. In this case, with GCP, I'm going to scan only a project. So easy. I can run credentials file. I have this file here. And this is going to go, remember, in this case, I'm scanning only a project, but you can scan multiple projects. This is for the sake of course, of the time. Easy. So it's going to run all those checks. Again, CIS, full coverage, level 1 and level 2. And once we have this done, we are going to see, let me show you also we are going to scan Kubernetes. So if you have, think about this. If you have 5 minutes, 10 minutes to do an assessment of your whole multi-cloud infrastructure, you can do that very straightforward with Prowler. In this case, we get of the overview, of course, the data, but hey, we are going to see the data and analyze all this stuff in a minute. And finally, I have a couple of Kubernetes clusters. How can I scan them? Easy, Prowler Kubernetes, keep compile, and done. This means that you can scan your local Kubernetes cluster, your AKS, GKS, or EKS, okay? Well, in this case, Kubernetes, since this is a remote Kubernetes cluster that I have on EKS, see all the details, and this is my result. Now I have everything scanned. What can I do now? Well, what I can do now is to see the data, see the result, what has happened here. Prowler dashboard. I run the Prowler dashboard, and this is loading all the CSV files that are in the Prowler output folder, including the compliance folder. And I can open localhost 11666, the number of the beast. But also you can pull data from Prowler SaaS. I'm going to show you that later. So here I can click here and see, boom, I have all the results in just one single panel. We can see here all the files that have been loaded in this execution. We can see the results of how many AWS accounts we have, associated subscription, GCP project, Kubernetes clusters, the status overall of your security posture, and the posture evolution of the last 7 days. And here also a top 25 fail findings by severity, which means that if you have a lot of things to scan, this is going to be the first thing that you have to tackle down. Okay, and you can download this very same table on CSV as well if you want to send it to somebody. So here, see the MFA, Defender, it depends. See, so you can see for AWS, Azure, Kubernetes, whatever is more important, you can do that. This is Prowler dashboard open source, so you can customize this any way you want with Prowler data, which is the same as the Prowler SaaS data. Okay. Here you can see all the scans that you have, all the accounts or projects or subscriptions that you have, and drill down into them. Let's see Azure. See, now I'm looking only at Azure. I can filter here only for my Kubernetes cluster. See, I see only my Kubernetes cluster here. You can filter out about also region or the cluster name, which is it's not only region. Our regions is the same in this case in the CSV as the regions for Azure or the namespace for Kubernetes. Okay. And what do we have more here? Compliance. We can go and see everything related to our compliance, everything that we have on our, let me show you on our results. So for example, if I want to go through this AWS account, because this is CIS for AWS, I only have this account scan, I can see the results overall for CIS. For identity and access management, see, I have to, this is fine. I have to fix the root account. See, I have to fix the password policy, or for logging, I can see everything that I have to fix. Okay. What else? For example, if you are in Spain and you are worried about the ENS, you can see the same even in Spanish, because this is based in our open compliance framework, which allows any type of requirements and any language. So in this case, we can see and drive through everything that the Spanish government requires for you to have everything secure in the cloud. See? And you know how to go through all this stuff and fix it. Good. So with this said, you may need to have everything in in a provider like Prowler SaaS. So if you go to Prowler SaaS, this is Prowler SaaS. This is our paid service, okay? And you can get, as you see, also the overview, services. You can go through services, through compliance, etc., through findings, and also you can add as many AWS accounts as you want, group them to allow access to different users, and also we have integration. The integration that I want to show you now is the S3 integration. If you connect Prowler SaaS into your own S3 bucket, this allows you as a developer or practitioner, you don't have to be worried about running Prowler. We run Prowler for you. And you can get access to the bucket, your own bucket with the data. And what can you do? So you can go ahead with this. You can see, I'm going to stop it. You can pull all the data from the bucket, your own bucket, and then see the data if you want to create your own visualizations for your own data. So you have Prowler SaaS to do everything for you. And if you want to do some custom visualizations, you can pull the data. It's your data. So it's going to be in your own bucket. Okay. So here you go. We can start here again, the dashboard. And if we come here, see, it's updating. And this is going to have more accounts. The accounts that you have actually in your from Prowler SaaS, right? Same for the overview, etc. You can select the account in this case, multiple accounts in this case, okay? Or from different days, etc. Okay? This is very powerful because you know what happens with visualizations. What is important for you is probably not important for other companies. So you can go with Prowler dashboards and create your own panels. This is written with Plotly Dash, and it's very, very easy to customize. And you get the best of our SaaS service and also the best for as a developer to do and to write your own dashboard and your own reports. Let me show you also, we have the Security Hub integration, and this integration allows you to send only failed findings to Security Hub. This means that the more secure you become, the less you pay to AWS for your invoice is going to be lower, right? And this is good because it's kind of forcing you to be more secure, right? And and make it cheaper, your invoice. And finally, the Jira integration. We have a Jira integration from our SaaS, so you can send to Jira whatever you consider important to engineers, to groups of engineers, etc., as a bug or epic story, etc. This is very, very, very cool. Look at this. So let me go here to overview, internet exposed resources, for example. Hey, I have the 422 open to the internet. What's going on here? I can send to Jira. I have to send it to somebody to fix it. There we go. It is here. This is this check here. I can show you 1 second. I have too many tabs open right now. 1 sec. What is my Jira here? I'm in another window. Hold on. There we go. See? So Prowler can send to your Jira with all details what you have to do and assign it, etc. So give it a look if you like. Okay, let me continue with the demo. This is for the dashboard. 1 sec, I have this open here. The threat detection. The threat detection, remember, is so basically this is a new category that executes 2 checks. I'm going to add here verbose. This one check to see enumeration, another check to see privilege escalation. If Prowler finds those type of activities in CloudTrail, Prowler is going to raise an alarm. Those checks are good to run every certain time, and by default, we have Prowler looking back 24 hours. But to give you an idea, we run Pacu right up before, well, probably 2 hours ago. Prowler is going to detect that Pagu was executed. So actually, you can configure the threshold to detect more or less stuff. This is going to take about 2 minutes. Remember, the longer the time that you are looking for, you're searching back on CloudTrail, the slower it's going to be. Okay. Let me see. This is going to be, the test this morning took about 2 minutes. This makes very easy to use and to customize the threat detector or detection check on Prowler. See, okay, we have seen that it's a potential enumeration attack detected from this IP with this threshold. Okay. These are the two checks: the CloudTrail threat detection and the CloudTrail threat detection privilege escalation. So there are many applications for attack simulation, like CloudFox, Pacu, many others. You can play with them and with Prowler to detect, to play the game of the cop, to hunt attackers. Okay, see, nothing detected for privilege escalation. And again, same output, CSV and OCSF JSON. And now I'm going to show you how to fix stuff at Prowler with Prowler. So for example, in this case, this feature supports only one fixer because we want to see the community reaction. We think this is very helpful, but we want to see what else to do, right? So first of all, for AWS, we have prepared a fixer. We call them fixer for this check. Let me show you. This check is going to fail for a couple of things. This is very easy fix, right? Because actually you don't break anything if you enable default encryption. So with this, we are going to see a couple of regions that they have the EBS default encryption disabled. And see, this failed, okay? So what I can do now is just run exactly the same command, see? That's fixer. And it is going to enable or to fix whatever has to be fixed. Let me show you what this does underneath, because it's very straightforward. In the release, let me go here to the code. Prowler providers, AWS. Is this oh, 1 second. I'm probably not in the right. Is in the master? No, I have to go to version 4. AWS services. This is EC2, right? EC2 and EC2 default encryption. And look, this is the check itself. This is the metadata file with all the check metadata that is going to create the finding, right? And this very straightforward file. Any check that has underscore fixer py is going to be executed if you run that fixer by check only. Okay, has to be check by check and with the proper permission. So look at this. The fixer, in this case, enable, this is what it does, the permissions that you need. Remember, Prowler never needs writing or changing configuration permissions. But if you want Prowler fixers, you have to enable the minimum permissions, the enough permission, okay? And this is what it does. To enable encryption by default, boom, done. This is so powerful because you can do pretty much whatever you want, not only fixing stuff at runtime, but also fixing stuff in your code. You can send a pull request from here. You can change the code in your Terraform. You can deploy a CloudFormation template of your own, whatever. You can do a lot of things from here at runtime and at the code side. So this is what we call the Prowler fixer, which is one of the nicer features of this release. So you can do this for any provider and any check of Prowler, only adding underscore fixer py. It's almost magic, but it's it's software and it's made with a lot of love and metal. So with this, I think I have pretty much everything that I wanted to show. Let me see if I made something. This is just an overview of everything that we do. You know, Prowler scan now a lot of this. The reports support many formats, standard formats, and using data from our SaaS and local dashboards to visualize. We enrich the output with Shodan so far, and we can save data to Security Hub, Amazon S3, and you name it, because from S3 you can send findings to many different places. You have seen Prowler SaaS, which is the platform that you can use. If you don't want to run Prowler, we run Prowler for you, and you have enterprise integrations, roles, authentication, etc. And what is in the roadmap before we move we're moving to the question? Everything that we have in the scanner, in the open source scanner, is in our SaaS plus single sign-on that we are adding a public API. If you want to trigger scan from Prowler, ad hoc scanning, we are adding also Azure, GCP, and Kubernetes. So far, we have AWS. More compliance dashboards, specific dashboards that allows you to make sure your security posture is compliant with a standard and more integration. And for the scanner, for the open source scanner that you like, Prowler, we are adding more checks. We are adding more providers, very cool providers that we are adding, and you can add as well. And fixers. This is just the beginning of a new era of cloud security, open source cloud security that is needed in the market. This is the pricing of the Prowler SaaS. You can go also Prowler.com pricing. And if you have questions, now is the time. And also you can join our Slack, community Slack, and ask there whatever you want. So let me go through the questions. If there are some questions that have not been answered yet, I see a lot of questions. So let me see. How frequent are we fixing the flow? Just once for so we are not running any fix automatically. This is up to you. We are opening a door of fixing stuff, but this is going to be ported in the SaaS in a different way that allows you to write those fixers online, okay? And I don't see more questions here, but let me, yeah, okay, in the Q&A. Compliance check for CSA. We don't actually have checks for CSA. What we do have, and it's very nice at Prowler, let me show you, is we have a JSON file that maps the standard or the compliance requirement with Prowler checks, whatever those checks are. For example, let's say that PCI requires everything encrypted at rest, right? So we have in the encryption at rest requirement of PCI, all the encryption at rest checks of Prowler. That is the way that we map that, okay? For CSA, I think we support CSA. Pedro, do you remember? Yeah, CSA is for AWS at least, right? Is there any limitation of file or file size for the visualization? So far for the Prowler dashboard, we use pandas and dash, and that loads CSVs underneath. It may be slower if you have more files, but you have to tell us. So the tests that we have done are with hundreds of files, and I haven't seen any problem. Of course, it takes a little bit to load because it's not a database. It's loading your CSV directly, but it doesn't fail at all. It works um, very easy. Is there any easy way to clean up the data? If you just need to delete the CSV to clean. I don't know if I understand what do you mean by clean up the data. Remember, now we have the mute list. With the mute list, you can add there by and filter out by tag, by resource name, by regions, account ID, by check. So you can do all that stuff. And remember something that we added in version 3, that you can also change the severity of your findings based on a configuration file. So we have that. Look for that in the documentation. The dashboard accessible. So the dashboard is a local dashboard. It runs in your workstation. You may run the dashboard wherever you want. And remember, the dashboard is for you as a developer to create your visualization. So if you open the dashboard to the internet, that doesn't have authentication. You have to work on that by yourself. Okay. If you want authentication, including single sign-on, social login, all that stuff, we do the same in our task. Will it run in Lambda? Of course, you can run Prowler in a Lambda. Do you want to run Prowler in a Lambda? No, you probably don't want to run Prowler in a Lambda unless you run a specific check in a specific region to control the timeout. Remember, that Lambda, at the end of the day, you pay a lot for the timeout. So if you have a lot of things to scan with Prowler, it's going to be very expensive. Okay, so can you run Prowler on a Lambda? You can. Should you do that? No, you shouldn't. More questions? I don't see here. For the SAS. Is there an option to save as Parquet? With the OTSS, you can convert to Parquet very easily with in a Lambda file, right? We have done that. If you want the code, we can give you the code. If it is not in the repo, I don't think it's in the repo, right? But we can provide code to convert. Once the JSON is in an S3 bucket, convert it to Parquet. It's very straightforward with a Lambda file, triggering a Lambda. Does Prowler scan the whole organization? I guess you mean the AWS organization. So Prowler scans one account, but you can tell Prowler, hey, these are all the accounts from the organization, and scan all the accounts. If you have the role, the Prowler role, or a Prowler a role that Prowler can assume, and Prowler can go account by account and scan the whole organization. This is actually how Prowler SAS works, but you can run it as well. Okay. Yeah, so you can do that with a bash file, but I'm calling Prowler if you want. It's just a matter of telling Prowler what is the account and the role to assume. And Prowler is going to do everything for you. Okay. In docs, let me show you here. You still see my screen, right? In docs.prowler.com, you can see the SAS documentation and the open source documentation. So in open source documentation, you have tutorials here and see a lot of different options for AWS organizations, regions, and partitions. This is important as well because Prowler works on China, GovCloud, and ISO. For that, it requires some configuration, but you can do that everywhere. Same in other providers. Yeah, exactly. You can use an ECS SAS, for example. What else? I don't know if I'm missing any more questions. Can I scan a central CloudTrail log in a bucket? What we have shown for the track detection is querying CloudTrail, not a bucket. but it's querying a central cloud trail or a region cloud trail, depending on what you have, okay? I have many questions here, but I don't know if you guys already answered them, no? Some of them. Let me see. It's great to have so many questions. Wow. Yeah, all that stuff that you have seen is the open source, except the SaaS. If you have to go, if you want to go to the SaaS, you have to go to prowler.com and sign up. Frameworks, okay, the framework is already clarified. Yeah, we will send the recording and everything. This is just for report accessible through local HTTP server. Yeah, the dashboard is accessible from to localhost, and from localhost you can I guess you can change the internal dash library to open it to the internet. But remember, doesn't have authentication. I wouldn't do that, not even with ALB, unless you put authentication. Okay, so take that into account. Any more questions? We have 2 more minutes. I think I'm not missing anything, but this is if this version has some access analyzer. We have some checks for access analyzer. Actually, if you have access analyzer enabled, and if you have it enabled, you have high severity findings in access analyzer. Yep. The same way that we have checks that look if you have Card Duty enabled or Defender enabled, all that stuff. This is the link for. Can you do it? Okay. Yeah, we are about to share the link for the Slack. Yeah, thanks, Sergio. This is the checks for the access analysis service. Okay, thank you, everybody. We are always available on LinkedIn, as you can see here, Twitter, the Slack. So feel free to join our Slack. You have all the engineers here. Integration with Banta. Yeah, we are planning with to get integrations with many other services, like also Okta and other services. So yeah, if you have also ideas, we are open to hear ideas. Yes. Yeah, again, thank you, everybody. This has been amazing. I can't believe that pretty much 100% of the demos did work. I'm so proud of, again, the whole team. These people are amazing. These people are making more for the whole internet safety than probably many other companies. So thank you very much, everybody. Thanks for your support, and see you online.